Hello, this is Sam Simon, also known as Dementia Man, for the week of February 22nd, 2026. I'm going to talk today about memory, some stories about memory, and actually some maybe advice or suggestions or maybe realizations on engaging someone with a cognitive disorder, and particularly sort of early stages of memory loss or being affected by a cognitive disease. I have Alzheimer's disease. Um, some stories actually prompted by things in the news and what I can remember and what I can't, and when and how. And the stories I hear from others where the same thing comes up over and over again. And so maybe it'll be helpful to those who know someone or live with someone or care for someone who has a memory disorder, and what are some of the better ways to handle that, and to again include within that a reaffirmation of a commitment to um, the theory of improvisational theater, a theory of improv, the yes anding, a life of yes and, particularly with someone with the cognitive disorder. Um, it's prompted in part by an event of this past week. Oddly, it's associated with the passing of Jesse Jackson. Um, I can remember where I was and something that happened at that time. And then I was reading about this and saw his poem that he's well known for, a poem about dignity, and um, realized that I made some gratuitous edits to it. I'm going to read it in a moment. Um, in his honor. I don't claim any ownership or rights to it, but I'm going to read my slightly edited version of that play to honor his memory. But my first memories of Jesse Jackson, and okay, this goes back to 1984. How can I have Alzheimer's disease and can't remember where we're going, or the way to the store that I've always gone to on some days, or when I have to ask my wife, um, where were we yesterday? Or I'm going to go, who are we going to pick up again? What's her name? How do we get there? It is so frustrating. I'm early stage, and it is so frustrating for both of us. We practice, I know we've talked about, we practice with each other, we talk about it. How do we avoid that frustration? Sometimes we have to leave the room, separate. Sometimes it's just normal. And we set rituals. We set, it's not just where do I keep my keys, but we have a place for them. And she knows that she needs to help me sometimes make sure I do put my keys or my wallets and my things in that same place, in the hopes that I can, yes, remember where to pick it up the next time we're going someplace. Yes, I do still drive, and I usually drive with Susan in the car. I don't go very many places, mainly the very close ones, but that may be 2% of the time. 98% of the time, I drive with Susan in the car. And if I forget anything or need help, of course, my favorite driving companion is um, Waze, GPS that can get me to wherever I'm going, and it talks to me. Uh, so, but memory is so different and so fragile. I mean, this is prompted a little bit too by something that happened just yesterday. I since some friends and I do an email every day, check in with each other, and I occasionally put the wrong name down in the to line, and it happened again yesterday. And I got this, come on, don't you uh, proof your emails before you send them? It went to the wrong person again. And yeah, I proofed it. I wanted to make sure I didn't make that same mistake. And I did. And I did. And I mean, so I can't tell you how frustrating it is. But back to Jesse Jackson. Um, in 1984, I was a younger man. Let's see, I'm 80 today. So 84 to 20 was 16, 30, almost 40 some odd years ago. I was on a national committee for the Union of Reform Judaism, and we were having a big meeting. It was one of my first meetings. It was a commission I had been appointed to, very honored at a very young age to be on this particular commission. And we had this meeting scheduled. And one of the agenda items was to do an outreach to this uh, uh, African American Civil Rights Coalition leader, this new leader, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I had read in the newspaper that day that he had made a comment, and he referred to New York as Town. And boy, Sam Simon that day knew everything. I went into the meeting and I demanded that we cancel the meeting, that we had nothing to do with these people. And the leader of that group, a very wise guy, he eventually became an ambassador for religious freedom to the United States, and we're still friends. In fact, he was surprised that I could remember the event. As Tom said this, I got an email from, I sent him an email about it, and he said, you have a memory problem? He was joking with me. He's a good friend, and there's a lot of Alzheimer's in his family. At any rate, what I learned from that, by the way, and it's a lesson today for all of us, rather than shaking our fist and saying ugly things, the folks from this group went, made an appointment, met with them, reached out, and over some time had a very productive relationship. He learned and they learned from it. So that's a life lesson, not just for dementia, but I remembered that. I remembered that like it was yesterday. So memory for us with cognitive disorders can be very random. On the other hand, there is a pattern to this. So I am reminded, I had an earlier blog about the Montessori of memory care. And in some ways, the Montessori memory care is premised on this phenomena. That is, somebody moves into memory care, and I might have to move into memory care one day. That yet, even though we are become someone different, that we maybe don't even remember our names, we can't recognize our spouses, but we can remember parts of our life that are deeply ingrained us and ways of those things that we did. And so one of the things they do in the Montessori of memory care is they do really, really deep dives into each person being moved in. What are their talents? What are their history? Where have you worked for? Maybe you were a plumber your whole life, or maybe you've been an actor, or maybe somebody once suggested that if you come to we're going to do Montessori of memory care, and if you come to our place, you can be head of the drama department in the memory unit. What? There's a drama department in the memory unit? Maybe. But it is, again, a reminder about how some things become so deeply ingrained in us, and others are just gone. So it's important as we deal with people to understand the randomness of memory as we begin to be affected by the cognitive disorder. And while early stages work particularly one way, it changes over time. I can't tell you how many times I hear from other people, "Oh, Sam, you don't have it," or "How can you have Alzheimer's or dementia?" We hate the word, right? Um, and you seem perfectly normal. I would suggest that if somebody says that they have Alzheimer's or have a memory or cognitive disorder, say, "Well, thank you for letting me know. Is there anything I can do to make it easier with you?" As one way to do it. Or to simply be aware and be patient and be patient. I got an angry email overnight. "How come you sent it to the wrong person? I've told you before." Well, be patient and understanding, provide hints or suggestions on how to prevent that from happening again if you're in an ongoing relationship. So I had a very specific memory of engaging Jesse Jackson and people who were working with him. I didn't personally engage him, but the group we were working with were. And I think this is a good advice for the way our society is right now. Rather than treating him as an enemy, working very hard to engage in a conversation where they found common ground and where he appreciated the feedback and did change and was careful. And I think in most cases we can build, and there's such a broad sense. I would, at least at one time, maybe not now, but at one time there was a broad general consensus that we are a single society. We are good neighbors. We may or may not agree on various things and have drastically different um, beliefs about certain things, but respecting the others, explaining how maybe their behavior impacts us or how their words can be helpful, hurtful, or helpful. Um, so that was some of my memory reaction to the event of this week. But there was a poem written by Jesse Jackson that has been aired over and over again. And I wanted to, I, I had a reaction to it that I think wanted to share with you and offer it my slightly revised version to it. The poem by Jesse Jackson, and I think we've all heard it a bit today, is called "I Am Somebody." Um, and it's a great poem. I and I um, am just so pleased. I don't know if I even remembered it, but it's called "I Am Somebody." So I'm going to read it as it was written, and then I'm going to make a slight revision and read it as I would, as a different, a slightly edited version of it. But anyway, this is the poem by Jesse Jackson, worth reading. And it goes, "I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be young, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be small, but I am somebody. I may make a mistake, but I am somebody. My clothes are different, my face is different, my hair is different, but I am somebody. I'm black. I am black, brown, white. I speak a different language, but I must be respected, protected, never rejected. I am God's child. I am somebody. This could be a mantra for us, those with memory care and memory disorders. Um, and so let me make a small change to this poem and read it with the tip of the hat to uh, all of us in the improv world, the yes and world. Because I think Jesse Jackson had it right. It was a yes and poem. He just forgot the word and. So here if, is my gift to those in the heirs of Jesse Jackson who may own this poem now, and I welcome them to change it. And here is a improv informed version of Jesse Jackson's poem, I Am Somebody. I am somebody. I may be poor, and I am somebody. I may be young, and I am somebody. I may be on welfare, and I am somebody. I may be small, and I am somebody. I may make a mistake, and I am somebody. My clothes are different, my face is different, my hair is different, and I am somebody. I'm black, brown, white. I speak a different language, and I must be respected, protected, and never rejected. I am God's child. I am somebody. The Jesse Jackson poem, slightly revised by Sam Simon. And with that, I wish you a great week and wish somebody or recognize somebody that they, in fact, recognize your neighbor, and particularly anyone you know with cognitive disorder, and realize that they indeed are somebody.